An image I'd like to share with you on this feast of our salvation, the Nativity of our Lord. If I were to reference Band of Brothers, who would recognize that? Okay, so Band of Brothers, most of us would recall that as the HBO miniseries from a few years back, which told the story of Easy Company, a company of United States Army Rangers in the invasion of Normandy. They parachuted into Normandy and took part in the eventual invasion and victory in the Second World War in Europe. And it was a very powerful image, this band of brothers. Now, does anyone know where that phrase actually originates? Band of brothers. We few, we band of brothers. That phrase that is so recognizable, made so recognizable by that miniseries, comes from Shakespeare, comes from his play Henry V. And King Henry V delivers this stirring speech on the eve of the Battle of Agincourt. It's one of the most famous pieces of literature in all of Western civilization, one of the most famous speeches. He's trying to encourage his men to fight courageously in the battle ahead. He says, "We few, we band of brothers." That's where the name comes from. And I bring that up because King Henry V did something else to inspire his men in that play, in that beautiful play. Aside from giving that stirring speech on the morning of the battle, Shakespeare depicts King Henry knowing that his troops are discouraged, knowing that they're outnumbered, knowing that they're fearful and expecting failure. What he does on the night before the battle is he dresses as a common soldier, and he goes in among the troops in the camp at night, and he speaks words of encouragement to them in the disguise of a common soldier to essentially rev them up and inspire them. And I share that image with you. We heard a moment ago in the book of the prophet Isaiah that God will comfort his people. Our King comes to us today disguised as a common soldier, disguised as a common human being like you or me. The true King, Jesus Christ, comes into the darkness at night in order to comfort us, in order to speak words of encouragement. He will come again one day as our judge, but first he comes like that, like he's depicted in this stable that we blessed last night, in which I encourage you to go and venerate before you leave today. The King coming among his troops, the King coming among us, his people, in a common disguise so that we can get to know him, so that we can trust him, so that he can speak words of comfort to us, speak words of encouragement to us, that he can call us to himself so that we can be with him. I'll ask you to consider another image, and it's the one that we have displayed up above here. Looks like just a very nice image for Christmas, the Holy Family, the Nativity. But you'll notice there's one figure in this image that seems a little bit out of place. Anybody guess at who that is? Just a hint, my boss has the same name. It's St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis of Assisi kneeling down in adoration before the Christ child and his Blessed Mother, bathed in that light, again, that light in darkness. And just in the top right corner, you can see St. Joseph kind of standing in the background, humbly, with strength. There's a whole other beautiful conversation to have about the glory of St. Joseph. But this image of St. Francis of Assisi, it is thanks to St. Francis of Assisi that we even have the tradition of erecting a Christmas manger, whether it be the one here in church, the one outside the church here, or the one in your own home that you've set up this Christmas. That tradition goes back to Francis of Assisi. Francis was a man who understood this truth about the King coming among his people. He understood it so profoundly because he experienced it. Like King Henry's men, St. Francis was a soldier. He was a soldier and he had been humbled in battle. And then he experienced a profound conversion to Christ and embraced his life of poverty and sanctity, for which he has become one of the most popular, perhaps the most popular saint in the history of the Church, one of the most recognizable Christian figures of all of Christian history, beloved by everyone, not just Christians. But Francis understood that Jesus truly does come to us, that Jesus is not just an idea. And one of the ways he was able to grasp that and live that was by his profound prayer and meditation on the Nativity of Jesus. So even though St. Francis lived 1,200 years after the events that we celebrate today, it's perfectly accurate and true for the artist here to depict him kneeling before the Lord at the manger. And a few other things to notice in this image. If you look at the left hand of Jesus and the left hand of Francis, right side by side, Francis is kneeling, his face is so close to the child. You'll notice that Francis has something that properly belongs to Jesus. You notice that nail mark in Francis's hand. Francis so understood and came to know the humanity of Christ that he bore the wounds of Jesus on his body, one of those great saints who was blessed with that mysterious, miraculous gift of the stigmata. So profoundly did he allow Jesus' humanity to enter into his, that he actually bore the marks of Jesus on his body. And it's a great foreshadowing, too, seeing the wounds of Jesus on St. Francis's hand next to that tender little newborn hand that would one day be nailed to a cross. There's a profound truth for us there, too. It's not just that the Lord comes to us and speaks nice words to us, speaks platitudes to us. The Lord comes to us and gets us ready for battle, like King Henry did. The Lord comes to us not just to make us feel good about ourselves all the time, but to strengthen us for battle, for the trials that lay ahead, so that then we can experience the true joys of heaven. This image is very dear to me, and as you go forth, it's on the worship aids, which at this point you're free to take because you've come to the last Mass of Christmas. And we also have, thanks to the generosity of some parishioners, a Christmas gift, a book that you're free to take as you leave this morning. We ask that you'd kindly limit one per household, and serving as a bookmark in that book is a holy card with this image on it. But treasure it. Let it inspire you. Believe with all your heart that you can get that close to Jesus. You can follow in the footsteps of St. Francis. That Jesus comes to us so that we can be face to face with him. You look at the light on that tender flesh of Jesus, the newborn flesh of Jesus, and it's that same flesh that we receive in the Eucharist today and every time we come to Mass. Jesus is not just an idea. Jesus speaks words of comfort, but also words of strength to get us ready for the challenges that lie ahead in each and every one of our lives. But he also wants to share the joys of our lives. And may this truly be a joyful celebration of Christmas for you. I know it has been for me. It continues to be today. My first Christmas with you as pastor. A great joy. I see many signs of hope. I feel like the Lord has come to me and visited me and spoken words of comfort to me to keep us going, persevering in faith and hope and love, and especially in this year of mercy that once again we've entered into. That the greatest mercy we can show someone is that Jesus actually lives, that he is wanting to be in our lives, that we can come to him with everything that burdens us. He is truly our King. He is truly born among us, and we are very grateful. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His mercy endures forever.